So welcome to our year-end review, where we're going to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly of 2017.
A lot more bad and ugly than good, I would say. Just a spoiler, in case you don't have time to watch the whole thing.
I guess, yeah, spoiler alert, Brian gets crabby.
Brian doesn't like movies, it turns out.
I saw Spielberg's The Post.
Yep.
You did not, because you have fallen out of favor with Mr. Stevie.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
I was very engaged because I love Watergate. I love all that shit. Like, I soaked that shit up like crazy. But then I realized this is all about whether or not to publish a story that we already know they published. So all of them arguing and going, is this ethically right? I'm going, well, we already know. So what the fuck? What are you doing? And then it ended.
Let's do our jobs. Find those pages.
You're talking about exposing years of government secrets.
Is that legal?
What is it you think we do here for a living, kid?
As a director, oh, this is unfair before I even say it. He seems a little more like George Lucas of late. He just seems like the kind of guy who loves his idea, sits back in the chair, and is just living off the reputation. Like, I
Don't agree at all.
That's fine.
I disagree.
We're not here to agree. And
When have we ever?
Legacy of the company is at stake.
What will happen if we don't publish? We will lose.
Lucas's films, when he didn't care, they had zero passion visually, and that's the thing with that's what saves The Post. That's what saves Bridge of Spies, is that visually they're still very engaging films. You still get into it, and you're like, oh, every shot is like.
I just think that's probably
camera.
more to do with other people working on set. You just go and see it because it has his name on it, but literally they could pull a switch on us and have a nobody direct a movie, put the word Spielberg on it, nobody would know the fucking difference. Because he's
disagree.
He's vanilla ice cream.
That's wrong. How are you, fucker?
What are you going to do, Mrs. Graham?
I saw Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan's latest.
We shall never surrender.
That seemed like one that I was not interested in because Nolan's whole thing is that he's fun. That's what I want from him. I just want to have a good time and have him guide me exactly through it. I want it to be a guided tour, but a fun ride.
And again, like, this is why it's in our disappointed directed category, because like people fucking love Dunkirk, and I've even read a lot of lists where they say it's his best film. I was watching and I was waiting and I'm going, okay. Again, it was kind of like The Post. All the craftsmanship in the world, technically fantastic. What is the fucking point?
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall never surrender.
Give me a point and a purpose. And I guess his point and purpose was just to have a war story where there's no main character, and it's just like he works with time and events happen at the same time. They go cut back and forth on that sort of shit.
Oh, is that what happened?
That's basically it. But the problem with that is that if you don't have any character to give a shit about, you don't care when you're watching it. It's like watching a bunch of video game cutscenes spliced together. And it looks great, sounds great, fantastic, all that shit. I couldn't care less. And any director watching this, which is none of them, 0. We have a viewership of 5. Anyone that makes a World War II movie without a single drop of blood in it to get the PG rating, fuck you.
We shall never surrender.
So Shape of Water,
Swing and a miss.
You clean that lab, you get out.
This may very well be the most sensitive asset ever to be housed in this facility.
it's disappointing because watching the trailer of that, I was like, ooh, Pan's Labyrinth 2.0. And then it wasn't. It just everything, and I can't really describe it, like everything was just slightly off about it.
Was that an aspect of you loving Pan's Labyrinth so much that you didn't want something different? Because I think it wasn't different enough from Pan's Labyrinth. That was my problem.
No, my problem was, remember when we watched Ultraviolet and I was like, this seems like Equilibrium, only shittier.
Yeah.
And it was like the same director tried to do the same thing, but it just was off. That's what this was like. Not in an extreme circumstance like that,
That's
but
the
like
best comparison ever.
We need to take it apart, learn how it works.
I don't want an intricate, beautiful thing destroyed.
We can do nothing. I'm sorry.
From what I understand, he's one of the most like insanely intense like directors in terms of piecing together stuff. Making sure every piece on his set has a meaning, and he
I believe that,
he's the one who writes out like character bios for all his characters for all the movies, and so everything is intentional.
Impeccable, sure, yeah.
But you can still have a predictable movie with good detail.
If you don't care about the fundamental story, then it doesn't freaking matter. And that's the problem with this. Like Pan's Labyrinth, you care, so all of it is just gravy. All of the details, all the visuals, the music, it's all icing on the cake because it tells something, an interesting plot with characters you care about. And Shape of Water was just Mighty Joe Young.
Joe needs me.
Once you meet him, you'll never forget. Disney's Mighty Joe Young.
I was kind of disappointed because I was really excited for it, and then watched it with my wife, and we were both like looked at each other and we're like, it was hard to sit through that. We were so bored so much of the time.
With all the fish fucking, you were bored during all that. My God,
like movies gotta give you something to care about. It being predictable also loses some of it. If you know what's gonna happen, then you're just waiting.
If you've seen Free Willy, you've seen Shape of Water. It's the same shit.
That's the best endorsement all day.
He freed his Willy all over Sally Hawkins.
If I told you about her, what would I say? I wonder.
Saw Mother. I was one of the 12 people
You were
that
one
saw
of the
that.
people, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to be learning about it when you talk about it, because I've
dear.
been waiting to watch it to find out anything. I haven't read a thing
Oh, no
about
shit.
it. I
Oh,
started
okay, well-
reading Scorsese's big defense about it.
Yeah.
And then I was
That was
like,
interesting.
you know what? I don't want to know anything.
And then
about
Harvey
it, so I stopped.
Weinstein's defense of it, and it's like, oh no. Oh, wrong pony betting on betting on the wrong. Oh, fuck.
Blame it on the alcohol, blame it on the...
It's just a really shitty dream you're trapped in. And you're just trapped in this nightmare, and nothing makes sense, and it keeps on escalating. And that's the thing, like when everyone's talking about Get Out. Everyone loves Get Out because it was apparently this brilliant satire that was really suspenseful. I'm like, yeah, but the problem is with Get Out, 20 minutes in, I knew exactly how it was going to end. And then that's what happened. There was no escalation. It was just, this is kind of what we're doing.
And
And
got it from point A to point B.
yeah, and like I've fucking seen Skeleton Key. I know how fucking Get Out ends. Like that's the movie. Whereas with Mother, it was like constantly kept escalating into more and more batshit crazy, and you're always like, suddenly Kristen Wiig shows up and everyone eats a baby, and it's like, what the fuck?
They've come here to see me.
Come quick!
I think it's worth watching the once. But even then, it's still like, I do miss the Aronofsky of Pi and Requiem and the Fountain, where he was willingly alienating a lot of viewers, but not at the sacrifice of telling a really moving, good story.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, it's all allegory, it's all metaphor, it's all a shitty nightmare you're trapped in. So
Pi was just really weird, but it
I
did have a
fucking love
story.
Pi. Yeah, it had
story
something.
behind it.
Phantom Thread. Okay, so
This is PTA.
PTA, we loved him growing up. Magnolia
It's still my favorite.
I feel as if I've been looking for you for a very long time.
You look beautiful. Very beautiful.
The tricky part with PTA, and that's why I love them, is that the first time you see his movies, they're disturbing and weird and kind of a bummer. And the more you see them, you realize, oh, they're all comedies. Almost every one of them. Magnolia is 4 hours of misery, and I watched that fucker and laughed my ass off. And There'll Be Blood is funny as shit. But he changed his style. Like, everyone's either you love him ripping off Scorsese, or you love him ripping off Kubrick. His last 2 Kubrick ripoffs, boy, Brian Miller did not like them.
Inherent Vice, it like physically made me feel sick watching that movie.
Phantom Thread is one of the better movies of the year. It's in my top 10 right now. It's really good. If you didn't like his last 2 films, it's not going to convert you, but it's definitely his best film since There'll Be Blood.
I don't like the fabric.
Maybe one day you'll change your taste.
Maybe I like my own taste.
Just enough to get you into trouble.
Perhaps I'm looking for trouble.
Stop.
Least disappointing of the disappointment.
This is by far the least disappointing, but it's still like, I miss old PTA. I miss the Magnolia PTA.
I miss old directors in period. Like there's.
Oh no, yeah.
It's sad watching them, just fall.
Whatever you do it carefully.
Did you see Valerian?
No.
Don't need to. Did you see Alien Covenant?
No.
Don't. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think.
Okay. Blade Runner.
The world is built on a wall that separates kind. Tell either side there's no wall, you bought a war.
Let's start out on a positive here. This
Wow.
was my favorite shot movie this year. It looked the best.
It did.
Out of anything I've seen this year, I thought it looked amazing.
Yep.
That's where it ends.
The key to the future is finally unearthed.
I saw the first Blade Runner for the first time this year as well.
Yes, because the new one had just come out, and I'm like,
we wanted to see that,
You need
and
to see
I
the first
wanted
one.
to see because everybody, like, a lot of people that I
Everyone talks
listen
about
to and talk about, like, they love that movie. And
Yeah.
so, usually there's reasons why. Not this case, but.
No, Blade Runner is one of those ones where it's like, I first saw it, I think, in grade 8 or 9, and I return to it every 3 or 4 years, and it's always like,
Maybe this time.
This time I'm gonna like finally love it as much as
get
everyone
it.
else. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And it's just come to the point where I'm like, okay, there's nothing more to get. It is a really cool looking and sounding movie that has the most flat story and fucking boring characters ever. So in this new one, in that sense, Blade Runner 2049 is like the perfect Blade Runner sequel because the fans of the first one liked a beautiful looking movie
Isn't
with
it
a
funny?
boring story.
They did a sequel right finally.
They did.
And it was shitty.
They fucking nailed it. No, like that's what clearly the fans want. And I'll give 2049 credit. This time, at least, the main detective character actually does any detective work.
Detective work.
He actually there's investigating and a plot involved, whereas in the first one, nothing.
This isn't detective work.
Enhance.
Enhanced 224 to 176.
Bothered me about the scene in the first one is that a good detective movie for me would be when he does that. I'm supposed to be riding this wave with him. Like, you have to tell me what's going on visually because it's kind of like the idea behind a movie.
The problem is that they littered the plot with subplots that were more interesting. His relationship with his fake virtual reality
That was the
girlfriend
coolest part of the movie.
was a movie unto itself and
Well,
way
it was.
better
It was
than...
her.
No, that's true. It was her. That's a
It
good
was that
point, yeah.
exact movie. They even had the scene where they
true.
do the lovemaking.
There's so many subplots in 2049 where it's like he uncovered that there's a mass uprising about to happen. Whoa, what's gonna happen next? Next shot, he's wandering around the streets by himself again. And then they never bring up that uprising again. Like, there's so much that is wasted potential. And I like Blade Runner 2049. I know you and Johnny, you guys hated it when you saw it in theaters, and part of me did too. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, there's a lot in there that's worthwhile. There's
I've
fun
never
stuff to
seen,
unpack.
and this should have been in our directors who disappointed. Because this director hadn't really made much that I didn't like before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we saw Arrival together.
Yeah. And
Prisoners was awesome.
Yeah. And then this movie was just, you know what? And I can't even complain. If it's what the Blade Runner fans wanted, then that's what they got.
Yeah.
I just, not my cup of tea. not on board with it.
War for the Planet of the Apes was one of my favorite films of the year.
Apes fight only to survive.
Bad human kill ape. All dead now, a long time.
No, this trilogy, it's got a lot of interesting angles to it.
It's
and
one of the
it tells
few-
a lot of different stories for a trilogy.
It
which
does.
is kind of weird.
It's a ridiculous movie idea. Like I like the cheesy Charlton Heston aspect, but it's also like the more serious these are getting, the more I'm like, holy fuck, I actually care. I'm into them. Like I care about the character.
And
now.
I do like the journey it takes you on from the first movie where it's just the normal world. And then you get all the way to the third movie and you're living in just like this
post-apocalyptic
and
nightmare.
it's just like all the humans are gone, but they don't show that ever.
No.
It's just like because Caesar's the main guy, so you're sticking with Caesar wherever he is. That's what you see. Which took me till mid-second movie to realize that's what
he's the main guy. Yeah.
It was a good movie. It was fun to watch. The only thing that I'd say always throws me off is I don't think CGI is quite there yet.
Can you just hold 1 second? Hi, I'm Riley, moviesandpotatoes.com.
I'm just gonna shut off the cameras.
Good, can't talk right now. Thanks so much. Please call back.
No mercy, no peace. This is war. Apes together, strong.
I just don't think CGI is quite there yet, where it needs to be.
It's as good as it's gonna look, but yeah, you gotta accept it.
They still look like rubbery cartoon apes a lot of the time to me. They get a lot of emotion out of the face, which I'll give them credit for, which is important.
Those
when your main
improved.
character is a CGI monkey, you need to be able to feel that. So at least you could lock eyes with that character and not just laugh your head off. I used to really not like Woody Harrelson. I would avoid his movies because I didn't like him. And he's been really impressing me lately, so I'm going to start watching his movies now. I thought he's been good.
Yeah.
And this was a good year, especially for him.
Well, and that's why I like him in this, is that it's one of those roles where the actor's not showing off. Like, he knows the star of the show is fucking Andy Serkis with a bunch of dots on his face. He just
And the
back
director
and
knew that too. Like, didn't try to drag on storylines that didn't need to be dragged on.
And it's funny too because it's called War for Planet of the Apes, so I expected a war, I expected battle scenes, I expected action. Not an action movie. Nope. It's a prison break film and like a drama, and it which would normally piss me off, but I didn't find it slow. I thought it was involving as shit. Really, really liked it.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
Let's start by saying we're going to trim down our discussion of Star Wars right off the bat. Because we could probably spend 2.5 hours.
Oh, this could be a review unto itself.
Yeah, it bugged us so much. We could talk endlessly about The Last Jedi. Let's suffice it to say it was disappointing and infuriating. It's not the worst film ever, like a lot of people will say. It's not the best film ever, like a lot of people will say. It was just a disappointing, sloppy, poorly written mess.
It's funny because usually I find myself there's a huge group of people who hate this movie.
Sure.
And I really didn't like this movie, but I'm not really on their side either because they hated it for different reasons. They were fanboys who hated it because they went away from Star Wars canon. I don't give a fuck about it. I didn't care about any of that. That was kind of the parts that I enjoyed about this one.
Sure.
The parts that I hate was just a terrible movie. It was just from the writing to the directing to the acting. The acting. Oh my god, the acting. I haven't seen that bad of acting in a movie that has made $1 billion fucking dollars. I don't think ever.
Really?
Ever.
You've never seen a Transformers film?
Who's your little Autobot?
Oh, you're cute.
Name's Wheelie. Yeah. Say my name. Say my name.
What are you allowing to happen to your foot just now?
At least he's faithful, Sam.
Yeah, well, he's faithful and he's nude and he's perverted.
I had some arguments and discussions or debates, whatever you fucking want to call it, on film tracks and stuff with some of my buds, where it's like, they've said, well, the point of the film is that all of the plans fail. So, because I complain that, well, nothing mattered, like nothing amounted to anything. All the characters wound up in the same place they were before. And I'm like, well, that's the point of the film, is that sometimes, no matter how much you try, your
you
plans
have
fail.
episode 9?
Apparently. So, and that's just it. So
I think that was the point of the film.
it's like, with it,
let's just make this one until we get JJ back on board, guys.
Well, yeah, like with an indie drama, like if it was Ghost Story and they said that was the point of the film is to show that sometimes our plans fail in life, I'd go, yeah, right. With a genre action adventure film, it's not that you need certain tropes to make it applicable or be good. It's just that you need a point. You need, and if that is the point of the film, okay, fine, great, whatever. Was that a point worth telling? Yes. Batman vs Superman, there's a lot of points to that film. Were any of them worth it? No. So it's like, Last Jedi, fine. All of their plans failed. Okay, so then what was the point of this whole story? Because I have a feeling when episode 9 comes out, you can literally watch from episode 7 to episode 9, and I bet you there isn't a single fucking lick of difference in characters or plot or motivations between each film.
I bet you wouldn't be too confused.
Not at all.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Come on!
Overall, my big complaint is you can talk broadly about this movie. You can talk scene by scene. You can talk subplots. You can get down to the little nitpicky crap.
Sure.
And there's always something to complain about. In every single one of those categories. There's CGI that you complain about. There's acting you complain about. There's a script you complain about. The director, you can complain about that guy.
Yeah.
Everything in that movie, there's something to complain about. And
so not the music.
When
they got one.
When you anyway, I'm ignoring you.
Fulfill your destiny.
Let's watch the clip of Mark Hamill drinking milk over and over on repeat. Because that
really bugged you.
It did. It encapsulates. Is that? Man, I'm. Slow down on this bad boy. That's the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
It's just show that clip, and it's just like, that's my review. Just read into that. Ginger Blast, Steven Spielberg. That's what I want the headline to be.